The Utah Mammoth is sorta proud to present Nashcast.
What the is a Nashcast?
Nashcast, the only hockey show on the planet. Hosted by a human speed bag, fourth line wannabe, healthy scratch, schnozzy moto, Tyson Nash.
Who the hell is Tyson Nash?
Never heard of him.
And the baritone with a brain, the velvet hammer, Mr. Silky, Tono Suave, the radio voice of your Utah Mammoth,
Go Blue!
Mike Folta.
Oh, Captain, my Captain!
Nashcast begins now.
Ready for takeoff.
Here's Tyler Ganoush and Mickey Foghorn. Wait, what? Oh, here's Tyson Nash and Mike Folta.
Welcome back, Foltz. Quiet weekend for myself. I did very little, didn't do actually anything. I know you're probably working on the tan of yours. I see the hair coming in. You're growing the loaf out, buddy, but what did you get up to? You're looking good, buddy.
Yeah, we kicked off Mammoth Week. Get to that in a little bit. Did some hiking with our producer Adam and our pre and post guy on the radio, Adrian Danny. Almost didn't make it up to the top of the Logan Wind Caves, a great spot in northern Utah, and got kicked around on the golf course a little bit. We talk about golf like every episode, Tyson. If anybody hates golf and who's listening, they're probably like punching their steering wheel right now. But I was playing a little bit of golf, but it looked nowhere near as fun or as incredible or as impactful as what you were doing on the course this weekend.
Yeah. Oh my God, buddy. I had maybe the best day, 2 days, maybe the best 2 days of my life. All right. So I love golf. First of all, I'm absolutely terrible. We played in this tournament. It's called the Cancer Community Event. It was in Coeur d'Alene Resort, one of the most beautiful resort courses you can play in America. I'm just telling you, if you get a chance, you got to play it. But on top of it, the first day, day one, I get hooked up with Mark Rippon. I get hooked up with Andy Brady Anderson. Brady Anderson. I'm not a huge baseball guy, so hopefully we can actually edit that out because yes, the leadoff hitter for the Orioles for years. This guy hit 50 dingers, I think 3 years in a row. How he's not in the Hall of Fame is beyond me. So Brady, I'm sorry. I think we can edit that out though. But Mark Rippon, are you kidding me? This guy is the absolute best. Gentle giant, won a Super Bowl, was the MVP of the Super Bowl for the Redskins at the time. Now the Commanders, I believe it was. But we had so many laughs. And then day two comes out. Now I'm from Edmonton, right? So I'm from Edmonton, and I am the biggest NFL fan on top of it all. So I see this tee sheet come out. Wayne Gretzky, John Elway, John Cooper, and Tyson Nash. So which one is not like the others, right? So I'm playing with those studs. I can't even tell you. I literally crap my pants. I'm teeing off. I had to, bang down a couple cocktails, a couple coffees and Baileys just to take the edge off, right? Just to get the nerves out a little bit. But I pepperonied one right down the pipe on hole one. And I'm like, yeah, suck on that, 99. Let's go. But it was awesome. And when you get a chance, and I know them, I met them, but I've never really played a ton of golf with them. So to see and to experience them, and when they're your heroes, right? And then realize they're even better dudes. Like we were ripping each other. I felt like I was back in the locker room. We were just carving each other. And then at night, there's a Dierks Bentley concert. And Dierks, we've shared a few cocktails in the past before. So he kind of gave me a little bit of a shout out on stage. So I was feeling really, really good, buddy. So I'm on cloud nine right now. I'm in the hotel here in Salt Lake. It's Mammoth Week, Foltz. And this is my story, right? So every time I get to a hotel, this is typically the view I get. All right. So I always get the air conditioner view. I don't know if you can see that or not, or the parking lot view. So I'm happy to be here, no question, but that's just par for the course right there. And that's a view of the old workbench behind me.
Is that a Holiday Inn Express that got you in?
It's actually, I'm right across from the Delta Center. So
Okay.
now, I mean, I'm seeing the action front and center, right? It is a zoo over there right now with all the construction, everything that's going on. I mean, this whole franchise is under construction. The practice facility, the big rink, they are spending some bank, and it's all for fan experience and player experience.
Yeah. Oh, they're doing crazy construction right now at Delta Center. But we got to go back to your weekend. What kind of player is 99 on the track?
He had an off day, he said. But the mitts, right? The mitts are the mitts. Soft, silky. And Mark Rippon, too. This guy had sausage fingers. Like he had it was like he had boxing gloves on, right? And this guy around the green was just throwing darts. His putting was Donnie Deadnuts, I was calling him all day long. So, and he said he's going to do the show. So Mark Rippon's going to come on, do the show one of these days. I'm so pumped. But again, what an opportunity. You get a chance to play with guys like that, and you realize they're obviously athletes like they are, but they're better human beings. So had a riot. Elway, John Elway, same things. This guy, can he drive the ball? And again, just hands all, and to be expected, right? They're quarterbacks. I mean, they have the certainly have the silkiness.
Might be the only guy with teeth whiter than yours, Tyson. John Elway. Like he's got some great chompers. Now, like I don't know about you, but whenever I've met or come across or seen videos of quarterbacks, like there's something different about them, right? Like, do you notice that with Elway? Like, there's a different kind of air. I don't know if it's leadership or confidence or what, but like those high level QBs, like there's a certain way they carry themselves. It feels like.
And really, yes, that is true. Like 1000%. They just don't have the nerves, right? They're calm, they're cool in every situation on the course. I was never so happy. We played for small amounts of money, and I've never been so happy to pay John Elway and Wayne Gretzky a little bit of dough for losing. I might have beat Wayne. I'm not exactly sure what our scores ended up, but I lost in the betting category. But John Cooper, too, you should see that this guy shot at like a 77 or something, finished third in the tournament. And on top of it all, I think those 2 days we raised like $1.7 million for cancer. So the people that need it, the people that can't afford it, that need some help, that need the support. So I'm a huge cancer supporter. Lost my mom at the age of 57 to liver cancer. My father-in-law as well. So it hits home. So that's the most important part.
100%. That's a special weekend. Coop had to have been a blast to play with too. Were you trying to get the lowdown on the squad from him while you guys were on the course?
Oh, I was gnawing his ear off all day. I think by the end of the golf game, his ear was literally bleeding. When you get a chance to, to sit and hang with those guys for 5 or 6 hours, you soak it up like a sponge, right? And I don't know if there's a more charismatic, a more quick-witted guy than John Cooper. I can't imagine playing for this guy. And I said that. I was like, I wish you were my coach. I would have went through an absolute wall for you.
You say that while Wayne was standing right there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, we laugh because I was talking to my good buddy the other day, Tyler Johnson, who just retired, right? So he was with the Chicago Blackhawks, played over 700 games. And I walk into his retirement party and Wayne Gretzky's there. I'm like, well, that's weird. Wayne Gretzky put me into retirement because he was my coach for the Arizona Coyotes. He wasn't at my
retirement. And then threw a party after. It just wasn't your retirement party.
Yeah, exactly. So we laughed about that story a little bit on the course, but I just loved it. Like everyone has the gift of the gab, except John Elway. He's a pretty quiet guy. But it was just so fun just giving it to guys. I'm like, I just carved Wayne Gretzky. How funny is that? Like, what can I carve Wayne Gretzky about? But he gave it back
on your forehead.
Oh yeah, he gave it back. Trust me. And all day long, he was playing the Nash Cast ball. So I gave everyone a sleeve. They absolutely loved it. So it was a great time.
What a weekend. Well, what a weekend for you, Nasher. We had a pretty good weekend. Like I said, we were up in Logan. That was the kickoff of Mammoth Week, which I know you're going to be involved in this week. As this drops on Wednesday, you'll have already been out at a couple of these events. You're going to be on the ice, coaching skills and all that stuff. I was on the ice up in Logan, and I had like the tracksuit on. And so people didn't really know who I was, but like I had the look, right? Like I looked like a Mammoth coach or scout or something like that. I play beer league hockey. I'm terrible. Nick Olchek, on the other hand, from our broadcast team, Nasher, this guy was like in full Andre Tourigny mode, like just giving it to these 8-year-olds on the ice, and just full coach mode. And it was so natural for him and so funny to watch Nicky O coach at this clinic. And I was sitting there just giving like generic coaching advice because I didn't know what was going on, right? Like, move your skates, move, move, like just generic one-liners. But I was out there, I was pushing pucks, and I was a pile on to skate around. But it was a ton of fun at Logan. We had face painting, we had merch, and like these skills competitions. We had a radar gun out there. I want to see you on the radar gun.
Wow,
sure.
I don't want to see me on the radar gun. No, I couldn't break a pane of glass, Fultz, when I played with my shot.
You could shoot it. You could shoot it.
I had a muffin. I had an absolute muffin, but I can't wait. I don't know how much coaching I'm going to do. It's been a while, but I absolutely love it. This is where you fall in love with the game. All the kids that are coming out there. No, you're not going to make the NHL, but it takes work, right? Whether you're Jerome McGinley, Dylan Gunther, Logan Cooley, this is where it all starts. It started the exact same way for myself and all of the Utah Mammoth hockey players. You have to start somewhere. You grind it out, you work, you put the work ethic in, and you never know what's going to happen. It is the best game in the world, whether you make it or not. Some of my best friends, Fultz, I know we've talked about this before, are still my old hockey teammates from when I was 5 all the way up to, 33, I think, when I retired. So those are friendships and bonds that you have for a lifetime.
Yeah, and with these events, like we just want to get hockey sticks in kids' hands, right, and get them to feel that camaraderie. And we definitely felt that on day one in Logan. We'll be in Provo and Park City and Cottonwood Heights, Ogden, Enoch, St. George. It's Clayton Keller's going to be in St. George, from what it sounds like. That's going to be pretty special to have the captain at one of these events. But really special stuff with Mammoth Week. Kind of growing the game throughout this great state that we've come to love. But look forward to seeing what you could do out there. Tyson might pick up a couple pointers from you.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. Just don't critique me, and there better not be any analytics. And I'll tell you what, Fultz, speaking of friends, I know we taped this one a while back, but one of my good friends, a guy that protected me my entire career, basically, with the St. Louis Blues. I had Tony Twist, I had Kelly Chase, I had Reed Simpson, and I had Reed Lowe. And Reed Lowe is one of my good buddies, one of the great guys in the game today, forever. And we had him on the show. We Nash crashed him with two unbelievable guests. So I cannot wait for everyone to see this one. Welcome back, folks. Do we have another show for you? My goodness, one of my old teammates. I used to stir it up. This guy used to clean it up. I kept him employed for a number of years, protected my butt around the ice with the St. Louis Blues. But Reed Lowe, buddy, welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you for having me, man. When I got that text message the other day, I'm like, absolutely. Let's get on screen and make a mockery of ourselves.
Hey, buddy, don't lie. Don't lie. You're going to have a nose like mine if you're not careful, right? You're not that excited. I know you're going to send me a bill after the show airs in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
No bills. I'm free of charge for you, brother. Free of charge.
Reed, you're doing your own content now, right? I mean, you're breaking down fights, and what made you get into that? When did you start that?
About 2 years ago, I started kind of having some fun with it. Friday night fights with your boy Losey's, kind of what we tagged it as. And I would get on and I'd break some fights down. And then I just got busy with life and kind of got away from it a bit. And then just the guy that was doing my videography and his buddy, who's been a producer in Hollywood and done some stuff with Adam Sandler. They called me up. They're like, man, we got to get this thing going again. So we did. We're right now, we're just kind of teasing it a little bit. I'm working on getting Cam Jansen locked down as my first guest here on Tuesday coming up. And then Nash Daddy's going to be coming on. And I want to do it live with Nasher. So when he comes up to see his daughter who works for our Blues alumni, I'm going to steal him for afternoon, drag him to my house, and we'll have a little fun with it. But yeah, it's pretty cool, man. We just like right now we're just kind of taking like the Nick Tarnasky. We took a little bit of a little shot at that and just having some fun with it. That's all.
Break it down. That was my first question. I mean, you're a former tough guy, kind of like Tarnasky. What's going through his head? Break that fight down. I mean, how many times? Because I know you love to fight.
Well, first off, I'm not sure I wouldn't be able to keep from laughing right now watching this guy. Like, are you kidding me? And I love it. Like, he kind of goes out of screen here, but Nick just turns him around and just like dummies him right into the lake. You know how nasty those ponds are at golf courses? Like, the fact that this guy got out and came back and didn't just go get in his cart and go home is absolutely unreal. Right now, like, I don't know. I've never been in a street fight or a bar fight ever in my life. I know people don't believe that, but I haven't been. So I probably would have just tried to wrestle him down. I don't know if I would have thrown any punches. Like, he is, first off, the noises, the bang, bang. I felt like I was back in 1976 Batman with Adam West, where they got the bangs and the pals coming out. I've never, ever swung a fist at a guy and said bang. I don't know what he was thinking, but it was absolutely hilarious content. And, it was fun to watch, but I'd like to hopefully not get in a fight there personally. I'd hopefully want to be able to make myself, he obviously has to do something because the guy's coming at him and he's going to swing. So he's got to defend himself in some way. But I hope I would have had the composure to just grab him by the throat, put him on the ground, and tell his friend to get him out of here. It's going to be a problem. And again, at the end of the day, if fisticuffs is where it comes, you got to do what you got to do. But hopefully I wouldn't have hit him because I'll tell you, Nasher knows, like, 30 toughest guys in the world on skates, the guys that play in the NHL, and we don't throw pillows. So you could hurt a regular Joe guy like that if you hit him in the wrong spot,
Well, his line mates were nowhere near.
Nowhere. They disappeared like crickets in sunlight, man. It was unbelievable. They was like, oh, I'm out. That guy's way too big.
That was like me, folks, when I played with Losey. I'm like, I'm out of here. And I think our producer's standing by, and I want to get to it right away, Losey, but this was an absolute classic. I was literally crapping my pants with this one. So thank God you were right beside me. But we got a clip here we want to show you with you and I believe it was Aaron Downey.
Yeah.
He eludes. Reed Lowe. He runs into Pops. And here is Nash.
And that's not a nice guy hitting you, Tyson, either. That's Bob Probert, right?
Thing to do. Lowe has his man, Reed Lowe. I believe that is Aaron Downey.
That was Aaron Downey. I'm not sure he has a head on his shoulders anymore.
Which is good for Nash. And Downey and Reed Lowe are in the main event. And Lowe has his
I hit him with a couple left hands here that I'm not sure how he didn't go down. Downey's one of the toughest guys out there. Right here, listen, uppercut, just like absolutely side of the temple, fist the side of the face, like. And Aaron Downey fought them all. He fought the big guys. He fought the middleweights. He was not scared of nothing. We fought a bunch in the minors. We fought a few times in the NHL, and then we were teammates in St. Louis for a short time. Before I got sent to the minors and he took my job.
What the Blues Blackhawks game was all about.
And then, how did he not go down and right? My goodness.
Look at those locks though, Nasher. Remember the Losey locks?
Hey, you love the hair flip, eh? Like, no one loved it more. He friggin' after a fight, the music cranked, and he's freaking dancing in the way to the penalty box.
Chaser used to get so pissed off at me for showboating too, and I'm like, you didn't do it. I do it. I don't care, man. Like, you can keep getting mad at me, Chaser.
But tell me, like, Losey, when I played, I literally crapped my pants before every game because I wasn't tough, right? I mean, for a tough guy, that it was your job to do that. I mean, did you have those butterflies every night before a game? Were you thinking about it weeks before? I mean, what was going through your mind, and kind of how did you get yourself through that to get to the game?
I think you just you bottle it a little bit, scared to death before every fight, especially fighting guys like George Laraque. Like, the guy's just an absolute mountain of muscle. He had to work hard to keep weight off. I swear on anything, this guy would have been a defensive lineman in the NFL. He probably would have been better job for him. Like, he was just an absolute beast. The fear was always there. I think it's what kept me alive, because I knew that any given night, a guy's going down, and I talk about it all the time, like the trifecta of hockey fights. Like I used to give Jody Shelley all kinds of trouble, and there was guys that Jody Shelley used to fight that he handled, and I struggled with those guys. And so when you're in that, you've known each other. You've typically, for the most part, you've grown through hockey with these guys for the most part, other than some of the older guys that are in the league. But tough guys don't, like, I had a 10-year career, and I think that's a pretty good career for a tough guy, because it gets old, man. You get 30 years old and like, I don't want to get punched in the face again tonight. When I was 24 years old and I'm just making the game, I'm like, I can't wait to get in a fight. I was in 9 fights in my first 9 NHL games. Joel Quenneville called me in the office after the 7th game. He's like, are you going to fight every night? I'm like, do you ask Al McInnes if he's going to score points every night? If I got to fight every night, Joel, I'm here. I'm your guy. I was like, the stat book on hockeyfights.com, my buddies and I were looking it up one night. 9 fights in 9 games, 17 and 26 games, 17 fights in my first 26 games. I think I played 56 games that year and had 26 fights. So I knew my role and I loved it. And
you're still halfway pretty. Like you're almost pretty still. I mean,
I didn't like fighting. Like I'm not a fighter. But I, at 17 years of age, found this way to have my teammates have a love for me that I was looking for. And I was a guy that nobody really wanted to do it. Ended up being kind of good at it, and was a way for me. Like I tell people all the time, I wanted to fight more than I didn't want to make the NHL. And that was the only way I was going to get there. And so I'm like, giddy up, let's go. And, my junior career, Moose Jaw Warriors, 76 fights in 123 games. Like it's ridiculous. When I look back at it and I scratch my head, I'm like, what were you doing? You're an absolute, only player in NHL history to have 250-plus penalty minute games. Like, where did that come from? I don't know. It's just part of it.
I got to ask you about those 2 nights. Okay, I got them right here. The 28th of February, 2002, and then like 2 months before New Year's Eve, 2022. Or no, that'd be actually later that year. But what in the world were those nights like? Like, were that just fight after fight and a couple misconducts? I mean,
yeah, the penalty minutes stack up when you start getting game misconducts. The Calgary game, Bob Boutner laid a nasty hit on Dougie Weight, actually tore his hip muscle off of the bone. He was out till I think he even played in the playoffs that year, Nasher, but he wasn't 60%. Like he needed to be out for the rest of the year. And those were moments where, like, Joel Quenneville's like, hey, Losey, you're up next, and I don't want to see you for the rest of the game. And I'm just, like, unloosing the screws in the back of my head. Like, Gong show time, baby. Let's go. And I would go out there, and I would just start a brawl. And that night I fought Bob Boutner. Well, I didn't really fight Boogie. I threw him up against the glass, then threw him down on the ice and just started beating the crap out of the back of his head. And then everybody came in. Nasher was on the ice. He paired up with Craig Berube, who was probably begging for mercy. And
yeah, his hand was right. His eyes sit down after.
He's like, at least there's one spot in his face he couldn't miss. Anyways.
It's a big target.
So, and then Robin Regehr, I fought Robin Regehr in the same shift. And in the first period, I fought Craig Berube, and I instigated that fight. I probably should have got an instigator penalty. If I would have got an instigator penalty on that specific first period fight, I would have broke the record for most penalty minutes in a game. It's held by Rich Fox in 1979. He has 67 minutes, so that would have given me another 17 minutes. I'd had 73 penalty minutes in one game, but didn't happen.
That is crazy. But I don't know if you remember, Losey, like when we first kind of got there, I was a free agent. You were drafted, I think, in the 7th round by the Blues. First of all, what did it mean to be a Blue to you? But I don't know if you remember that car ride. We were heading down the highway. I think it was the 40. And you were the DJ, and we were going to, I think it was fitness testing. And you put on this song I'd never heard before. It was Buck Cherry.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I was so pumped listening to that song going into the fitness testing, because my song was Travis Tritt, I'm going to be somebody. But I think everyone had a song, right? But I'll never forget that car ride, and certainly that training camp that we both had. I think you fought Twister, I fought Chaser. it was certainly memorable, but that's how you got to make the team.
Well, I think what I remember most of it, actually, I fought Chaser right after you in that training camp game. We were on the same team, and you went and absolutely laid Pavel Demitra completely out. And Chaser came after you, and you did what you're supposed to do. You fought him. And then we went around for another set of shifts, and I was out after you, and you guys were having a face-off right against our box. And Chaser's hacking you, and he's whacking you, and he's hacking you again. And I just jumped over the boards and stepped in between him, and I said, hey, he's already done his fight. If you want to have another piece of him, it's got to come through me. So I fought Chaser in that moment, and the scouting staff was just absolutely loved it. That was our second. That was the year that I don't think that was my second year. So I think that was your first year with the Blues. You did get some time up, but you were in it. Greg Gilbert played you more than any hockey player on planet Earth in Worcester that year. But then I had to fight Twister the next day. That wasn't pretty. He comes out, grabs me, tosses me around, and he's sitting on I'm laying flat on the ice, kind of with my hands over cupping my ears. He's sitting on my back, open hand cuffing me. I'm the sheriff in this town, boy. And I'm like, yes, you are. Just stop hitting me with those bear claws. Please, 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 please. But one of my favorite moments was our next training camp. We had 23 men on the roster. There was 2 guys sitting in a hotel room together, me and T Nash right there. And we're sitting there waiting. And I'm like, man, if they don't take anybody in the waiver draft, you're 22 and I'm 23. And that year, Nasher had to clear waivers to get sent to the minors, and I didn't. And sure enough, they picked Terry Yake up off waivers. Tyson made the team, and I got sent to the minors. And I was so upset, so mad, but it ended up being great because I played a ton that year. I got power play, penalty killing time. I think I had close to 30 points, 225 penalty minutes or something like that. But I would say like my favorite hockey year of my whole hockey career, including junior. I got to play, I got to fight. I really got to do the enforcer role the way that I feel like it's supposed to be done. And then the next year I made the hockey team. And hey, Nasher, I just want to thank you right now because that year you made the team. We both were at an age where we had to play 80 games by the time we were 25, or else we were unrestricted free agent. And Tyson absolutely robbed the bank at the end of that year because the Blues
had a ski mask
on and everything. So he absolutely robbed. He should have got like 657. Instead, he got like 950, a mil one. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. So training camp that first year that I'm coming in, 3 months ago, they offered me a qualifying offer. You get a 10% raise. I think I was going to like 660 or something like that. And they're like, we got to get Losey locked up because there's no way that this kid's going to play all 80 games. We're going to healthy scratch him a bunch. And so I ended up signing a 3-year one-way contract without ever playing an NHL game. So thank you, Tyson Nash, for that.
I'm good for something. And Fultz, I don't know if you've seen this ever. I know you're a historian of the game, but one of the best fights I've ever seen in my entire life. I was on the ice. I had front row seats to this one. But PJ Stock and Reed Lowe, let's run the tape. This is a beauty.
You can see I'm kind of kicking my feet off on the top of the screen there. Gloves come off. I said to PJ, there's about 14 minutes left in the third period. It's a 2-2 game Saturday afternoon in Boston Gardens, or TD Boston Garden. And I said, let's put a show on for the fans. Your lefts, my rights. Let's do this. And so he's like, not a problem. And we just, the Homer fans, PJ pistoning away. I'm like, are you kidding me? He's not even hitting me. But I hit him with 2 uppercuts here that I think he's still feeling.
Did you have the tearaway jersey there? I mean, that thing got shredded pretty quick.
Yeah, he's. Doesn't look like I have my tie down must be on. But watch this one right here, Nasher. Oh, great guy. I've got to hang out with him a little bit at some of the stuff that we do as alumni fantasy camps and stuff like that down in Nashville one year. He's just an absolute awesome dude too. We had some good tilts, though, man. I fought that guy. I think I fought him more than just about anybody except for Dale Purrington. Dale Purrington was an absolute meat stick, still a good buddy of mine today. We in my last year at junior, we played in the playoffs. We fought 5 of the 6 games that we played in the playoffs against him that year. So, and the game I didn't fight him, I fought Mike O'Grady. So.
Unreal. Dale Purrington, he tried to claw my eye out. But Losey, I gotta tell you, part of the Nashcast is an ass crasher, and we had somebody that wanted to say hi to you and crash the party. So let's bring him in.
You're an ass, Reed.
Oh my gosh.
I'm still drooling. I'm like, Master's like, hey, come on with Reader so you can talk about your fights. I started drooling and had to pour myself a drink for crying out loud.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, Peach.
I'm at the cottage, and Tyson reached out, and I'm like, this is something that I've been listening to you guys talk for the first 20 minutes. And no one can understand our life except for the people that are listening that understand our life. It is so crazy, from the music you guys drive into to Twister sitting on you, paddling you on the side of the head. That would only happen at a hockey camp where guys understand what he's doing. And then you and I had just beaten the snot out of each other, and all we want to do was say hi to each other. So congrats on an amazing career, buddy. It was awesome. And yeah, I don't know how many times we fought, but I don't think I landed a punch in any of the fights ever.
That's
but
not
they
true.
Looked good. And that's all
That's
that
not
matters.
true.
That's all that matters.
We fought a bunch of times in the minors. You were in Hartford, and but it was always good. I really people ask me like I enjoyed fighting you because I knew we were gonna have good fights, because I knew you were gonna just, whatever hand I was throwing, you were gonna throw the other one. I knew that we were gonna have punch in the face contests, and I'm just glad you don't punch like Tony Twist, or I wouldn't be on this podcast right now.
AJ, how do you stay so pretty, buddy? My goodness, what's going on? And we always hoped that you actually would punch Reed in the mouth and maybe knock those chompers out.
Well, that was one of my concerns. He had some jagged edge teeth there, right? So I didn't want to go near the mouth, right? So, and then he's big too, so I had to I try to go underneath from the side because I didn't want to hurt my hand, because you guys know my hands were important when I played up. So me and the puck and my goal scoring were important to the successes of the teams that I played for, so I never really wanted to get hurt. But we had a couple, we see a lot of people see the ones that are in the NHL, but getting to the NHL and the stories that you guys were talking about, that's the stuff that people almost should watch, and how hard people have to work to get there, and the fighting and the whatever you have to do to get to that next level is pretty. I'm trying to think of a word that's kind of going to make it sound. It's a movie. It's like an absolute. There's Slapshot, the kind of show, but it doesn't do anything justice. That's just a cool time of what it was like. But I don't know how many times we fought. Reed.
I think 4 or 5.
And more. I got you more than that.
10. Fought. I don't know. Post-concussion, brother.
But there was never. It's what you said before. There was never any hatred. We both understood what we had to do. We both there was never. I think of guys, and there's you and Eric Bolton that I bring up, is that we fought a ton, and I can't think of a dirty play we ever really did to each other.
Never.
Like, of all the dirty moves that we not did, but things that we had to do to get noticed, that fight there in St. Louis, we were up 2-0, sorry, is in Boston at home. We were up 2-0. You guys came back and made it 2-2. I just came off, and I'm like, oh no, you jumped on. I went on to be like, okay, this is the moment where I got to try and get the crowd back into it. It's just, people don't understand it, but people that understand it get it. And here we are, two guys out there punching each other in the face, and like, these guys got to be assholes and hate each other. What's going on? And it's like, we would have been the first two, actually, Nash, for you as well. 3 of us would have been having beers right after the game.
I think we did have beers after the game.
Yeah. You tagged me with a few.
Billy Waiter and Walt took everybody to the bar.
He stuck you with the bill too, PJ. PJ,
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I don't know if you remember our interactions. I was kind of like your dog. And by the way, your dog is the horniest dog I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he's dry humping everything he can get his hands on. Over at the cottage. That was like me. I remember in Hartford, we had a little bit of a fight. Again, we had another one in Worcester, because I was petrified. I'm like, I cannot fight this guy. I will not have a head on my shoulders if I tangle with this guy. But we were all kind of cut from the same cloth, right? I mean, we were not big enough, not fast enough, not skilled enough. But PJ, for you, what motivated you to get to the National Hockey League? Because I know you took the long, hard road.
Um, I never, you know, I never planned on ever being in a National Hockey League. My dream growing up was never to play in the National Hockey League because it was so far away. It was get a scholarship to an American school. That's kind of what it was growing up in Canada, right? It was kind of we watched Notre Dame football and how it was glorified on TV in Canada, and we thought at that time that that's what we wanted to do, little amazing schools in Canada and everything. But it was just glorified at that time, and that's something that was my dream, and that was my goal, and I just kept pushing myself and doors kind of opened and like it's funny like we hearing Reader talk about how he got there and naturally we're a tad more talented than both of us combined, so it might have been a little bit
Whoa, really?
yeah, so it was, but you still, the work thing is that it's hard for people to understand the sacrifices and the hard work that we had to put in to get recognized, to get noticed. And we did it. And I think the three of us, whenever I was asked to talk about it when I was younger, I didn't really know how to talk about it. But now I heard, and we're very proud of what we did. We're very confident, and we've made it somewhere that we never thought we'd ever would have made it. And how we got there, we got there. And I'm not someone that likes to ever say, be proud of yourself. But, I heard Marty St. Louis this year talk about Michael Pezzetta, who just went from the Canadiens to the Toronto Maple Leafs this summer. And congrats on him. Pez is one of the last guys still standing in that role. But, the media kind of didn't love the way Pez plays because he's a little bit more of he's not the most skilled guy in the league, which we might fall under that umbrella.
Up and down winger, baby.
Yeah, they're like, why is Pez in the lineup? Why do you keep him in the lineup? And he goes, because he excels at something that takes no skill. And everyone in the media kind of laughed, like, because they thought that the next thing that he was going to say was like, he's got no skill, ha, ha, ha. But no, he excelled at something that had no skill, and it's work ethic. And that's the one thing that a lot of people don't understand because it's contagious. And it's something I think the three of us, we look back on our careers and how we got there and why we were there. Might not have been for, we weren't lighting the lamp. Well, Nasher did. Reed, you and I can count our total goals on one hand. But I never planned on it. I got there. We're talking about it right now, and I'm super proud when I look back on it, no matter how taboo it was to be fighting or be called a physical guy or whatever. But we're three lucky dudes, and Mike, you as well, to be in this position. It's pretty cool life that we live.
I think that
I'm in awe of you guys. Nasher, what do you got?
Oh, first off, before Nasher goes, I just want to make sure that PJ now, Nat, that you called him talented. He's going to cut that out, and that's going to be his ringtone on his cell phone from now on. Somebody telling him that he's got talent.
Hey, PJ,
know your people. He's the host, so I got to suck up a little. And really,
exactly.
Let's be honest. They dropped the puck out there. By the time you and I got off the ice, it was in a square. So we do know what we were good at and what we weren't good at.
Yes, we did.
And we also know Tyson. Yeah.
Well, speaking of guys, PJ, that anytime I got the puck from this guy, it usually came in about 5 pieces. But I want to bring him on the show here. I think you might have a little history with this guy.
She is.
Yeah.
That's the figure skater guy.
Yeah.
That's the figure skater guy.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, buddy.
You know, I'm 164 pounds now, so if you're ever going to give yourself a chance, now is the time,
buddy. Finally, someone in my weight class. Actually, it's funny. Chaser, I had in my basement, I have, we're just talking about all these cool things that we've got to, and we never expected to be there. And one of the coolest things that I have in my basement is, and I laugh all the time when I look at it, I kept my figure skates down on the bar. That it's just kind of it's like everything that you had worked to, kind of it's like the ladder, this step. And then there's this branch that just goes way out. That's some figure skates. So,
hey, you know what's crazy about that? I told this story the other day, is that I was walking through the airport with my kids and they were just young. And you played 13 years of pro hockey.
Yeah, I know.
You're walking
exactly where you're going.
And then they go, "Oh, you're the figure skater." Some old lady come up. You're like, "I'm one." I'm like, "Figure skater." Jesus, I played 13 years in the NHL, and that's what it's come to. And they never watched one hockey game in their life, but they watched Battle of the Blades. And so and we had so much fun. So what's the song that you hear every time and you think of that show? Do you remember?
Oh my God.
We would go to the bar. We had a great group. Just so you guys know, we had the guys that would go out at night was myself, PJ, Val Bury, Russ Courtnall, Todd Warner. So there was,
Oh, weird. You guys went out?
we went out a lot. And we made sure we took all of the girls with us, and we made sure we paid for all. They were getting paid nothing, and we bought their dinners and we just made it a great time. The whole event was just a great time. Hey, how come you're having trouble getting your head in the shot?
I don't have my head. Don't even go with my head. Your head is way bigger.
I'm trying to figure out why.
I don't know. We know that if we could do a pumpkin head if we do all of this. We put Reader's teeth on it, Nasher's nose.
I was
gonna say you got the pumpkin head.
I'm good looking. I'm a good looking motherfucker right now. Don't kid yourself.
You are good, and you're fighting weight now. You look good. Jesus, how did I get suckered to this on a Saturday morning? By the way, cheers.
Hey, now, we having beer and Clamato this morning?
No. Nasher reached out. I'm jumping on for Rita. I'm like, shit. Oh my God. I started going through some of our fights, and I'm like, Chaser, I forget how much time you had to put a little bit in the minors, right? The minors is like the story that is. You're in St. Louis. The minors is like a whole new world for anybody. That's a story that has to be showed.
Well, it's an animal act because what it is it's everybody trying to get to that. Once you get there, there's a couple of guys in every team, and you want to, stand your ground and be tough with everyone. But everybody on the show can attest that when you're down there, it's like, it's crazy. And I tell this story. You're fully aware of the race for Chase, and everyone laughs about it. I'm with Twister, and everybody wants to make sure they get their fight in. So it's me instead of Twist. They don't want to fight with Twist, so it's a race for Chase. So the whole act down there was everything was fine. We were humming along, winning all these games. We ended up winning the championship, but they traded Twister at the deadline, and it went from like him calming the waters where we could play 3-4 games and everybody would be fine. I think I fought in the second part of the season probably at least 25 times from the deadline to the end of the year, because everyone was like, okay, we'll see how tough Peoria is now. And it was just like an animal act down there. Everybody trying to kill Nelson Emerson. They're trying to kill him. Dave Bruce, I was like, Jesus, what? And, everyone was afraid of the big guy. And so now he wasn't there, and it was just turned into a circus with him. And I remember being down there at first when we first got there, and Twister being so damn tough, and there was no video of him. So 7 of his first 10 fights, he just knocked guys out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to teach this rookie. And guys that have been down there 3 or 4 or 5 years, they come at him. Bam. Good night. Now you were just guys on our bench were like, holy shit. And we were like,
my first year, and I get called up to New York. I think Reed beat me up 3 times already that year. And now, and you're in the minors in Worcester. And you guys had Salvador. You guys had a real tough team. You did a lot of the fighting, but you guys had a real physical team. I'm forgetting his name on defense.
Mayers, Salvador.
Mayers. Just a real tough team. And then, so finally I picked my teeth up after Reed knocked them out, and I get called up to New York. Oh, this is awesome. And I have to walk past, we're playing St. Louis Blues organization that night. So I legit, I'm coming from a Canadian university. There's not all the outlets to know who's playing at the time, right? I had a magazine. That's all that I had. It was a magazine in my bathroom that my brother used to get called Tough Guys. And it ranked all the tough guys in the league, and that's all we had. You went to the bathroom, you read the tough guy magazine.
Let's be honest, it was called Penthouse. It wasn't Tough Guys.
Hey, there's people watching. I'm just trying to ad-lib here. So
and Chaser was in it after taking another cold shower.
I don't even know what to say because I don't know where this is going to live. So I got to make sure I'm watching what I say next. But we're watching. But that was too easy of a joke to follow up on. Anyways, I'm walking past the St. Louis Blues dressing room, and there's there's Twister outside with no sleeves on his jersey doing curls.
Oh yeah.
Doing curls. They have dumbbells on the road at MSG, and I'm like, where am I? What is this?
I know.
What's going on in this organization?
Oh, he used to do that on purpose. He had the sleeves cut off. He would do a bunch of bench presses and arm curls, and then he would go out in pregame skate and he would tape his stick on the bench. And sometimes he would go to the opponent's bench and sit on their bench and tape his stick in the morning skate. So the other team's skating around and they're looking, going, Jesus, look at this guy. And he would do it on purpose, and he knew he was rattling everybody that he, and it got, obviously, it resonated with you too, but he was something, man. I love him. I love the guy, and we all played with him and against him, and to talk about a guy that was intimidating, and he was the same damn way off the ice. If you needed help, he was the first guy lined up. And we say this all the time. There's guys run away from the fight. When the fight starts, there's people around. He runs at it every time.
And one other thing about Twister before we go, and Chaser, I got this from you, but Tony's actually very, very intellectual. He's a smart guy, and Chaser always should say, Twister's smart enough to run the bank. He'd just rather rob it.
It's true, man. I mean, if the guy had a choice between, hey, we could go talk to this guy and settle this street, you know what? Let's go wait at his house tonight instead. That's just like, I'm going to make a point that's going to be well taken and received, whether they like it or not. That's it. But
Reader, what was your most intimidating? You just said something about guys going to tape sticks prior to, and you guys had to fight guys. I fought some big guys, but not had to fight like the guys that you guys had to fight every night. And you just mentioned something that gives me like PTSD, but I want to know Reader's thought on this. But
the most weird night I ever had was my first year in the NHL.
But I want not the night, like not the game, the prior to the game, because like I hated when the other team would come in and stand on the glass in the morning, because I know I'd just be looking at their tough guy and how this guy belongs not here, and I'm just so nervous, and I couldn't feel my stick anymore. I couldn't cross over on a good day. No need to bring it up, Chaser, about my Battle of the Blade skills, but I couldn't cross over on a good day, and now there's Bob Probert, there's Larac, there's Brashear on the glass, there's Twister, and I was just mush. I was so intimidated.
You know, it's funny you say that, because the very first time, like Probert obviously was in your mind or whatever, and I fought him a lot. And I'm going to be honest with you, like he didn't intimidate me. Like after I'd fought him, like Kosher, I'd seen him. I grew up with him. I'd seen him hit guys at parties at a gravel pit, knock them out, and put them in the hospital. So I was like, I didn't want it, but I knew I didn't have to fight with him. The one time where I wasn't sure whether I would have to fight with the guy ever in the game, and he treated me so well because we were both played in Saskatoon, skated in the summer, but I never knew how he was going to react, was Dave Brown. He was the one guy where I was like, Jesus, I hope I don't have to have this. And Brian Sutter, my very first game against Philadelphia, walks up to me and he goes, watch that Brown tonight, Lado. He's tough. He throws left, Lado. And I'm thinking, I don't give a shit what hand he throws with. I ain't going near him. Like, that's what I'm thinking in my head. And now I got anxiety, and I'm thinking to myself, so you're talking about the anxiety, like, I'm in warm-up going, Jesus. And then he just came over and he hit me on the pads. He goes, goodness to you up here, kid. I'm glad you're here. And I just freaking let the air out. I was like, thank God. Because he's the one guy, when you talk about where he was in your head, he was in my head so bad before the game. And then Brian,
and let's be honest, there's a lot of space in there, right? There's a lot of space in there. You could park a car in there.
Hey, you're still bitter because I went to the finals and you got kicked off the island twice first round. don't, if we're talking about skating and Battle of the Blades, one of us went to the finals, one of us didn't. Twice.
Reader, I want to hear you do one of your counter things.
There's no rebuttal to that.
7 4.
You what?
What?
Auctioneering?
Yeah, I want to hear. Give me something before I go here. You guys go. I got a big day drinking on the dock. All right.
I gotta go. I got shit to do here. I don't have time for you anyway.
Take your merch with
Thanks,
you.
Chaser.
Hey, Chaser.
Cheers, buddy.
Losey, who is that for you? Give us the last one before you go. Sure, Chase.
Yeah, I'll let you guys roll. You guys have fun.
All right, Stalker. Love you, buddy.
Love you,
Thank you,
buddy.
man.
Good to see
You
you. Thanks
guys
for
are
coming
both
on,
good.
bro.
All right, you guys are awesome. Now, when I hang up, the talk doesn't start, right? Well, it doesn't make a difference. I don't want to get beat up again.
We
but
can
I know
actually
that
record now.
I know that Nasher has a nose for this, so don't get carried away.
I won't. Oh,
Get the water wings and get on that dock.
You put "I love Reed
All the best,
Lowe"
boys.
on your screen. How can I do anything but love you?
Cheers, boys. Awesome.
See you guys.
Talk to you. Ciao.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Those I wasn't expecting to see those two bruisers. That's absolutely hilarious. Chaser's a legend. He should be the mayor in St. Louis. And I am a third generation auctioneer and I do auctions. That's what I do. As you can see, my logo, hockey sticks and auction gavels. But really, Chaser couldn't make a charity event one night, so Twister made me get on stage and do it. And everyone was like, "Man, that's good." I'm like, "I've never done it before." They're like, "Well, you need to do it again." And that was 10 years ago. And so, Chaser was like just finished. You know, he retired and got into the radio booth my rookie season, and I talked to Chaser before every single game. What's going on? Who are they? What should I be doing? Like, he cared about me so much and treated me so good all the way through my pro career. And then as really, the leader of our alumni, like if you get the opportunity to go to a Kelly Chase party, you're going to have a really, really good time. That boy knows how to have fun and he knows how to bring the noise. And there's not many people that put a charity event on and Garth Brooks shows up for. So he's an absolute legend. I love the guy, and lots of prayers going towards him and getting better and making himself healthy, so we can have him longer than anything. But for me, like when they were talking about guys they're feared, I grew up in Moose Jaw and I also played for the Warriors, and Jim McKenzie, who doesn't get enough credit for being one of the toughest SOBs to ever play the game. He fought everybody. He knocked guys out. He was a hard throwing lefty, and he'll tell you the story too. And I kind of forgot about it, but like the first game, like I was obviously very aggressively trying to get in fights, but I didn't want to fight Jimmy. That was just something I just did not want to do. And the first game, he's like, "Oh man, this kid's got all kinds of penalty minutes and fights." He forgets all about the fact that I grew up watching him in Moose Jaw. And so we're lined up and I'm just like, "Hey, how you doing, man? Good to see you." Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I skate off and he doesn't do anything. I'm like, "Whew, this is good." And I never, ever fought him. I never, ever wanted to. But when I was a kid, they had a little pre-skate, like a skate with the Warriors. And my cousin and I were hanging out. Lyle Odeline lived with my cousin. So we were hanging out down there. Well, Jim grabs me. It was like, "Let me swing you guys around." So he grabs the bottom of my tuck skates and he's swinging me around. But he accidentally drops me right on my head. I smacked my head off the ice and I was bleeding. Had to go get stitches. He's like, "What did I just do?" Anyways, we've had some really good laughs at some of the fantasy camps. And you want to talk about, like, all the guys are good. I don't care what anybody says. Hockey players are the most down-to-earth, humble guys. And it's because we know how to act. We know that it's not about us. We know that when you're fortunate enough to make the National Hockey League, it's a privilege, and your job is to make sure you do as much for those that are coming after you as you received coming into it. So good stuff, man. This is a lot of fun. Great job, you guys. This is pretty cool. I wasn't expecting this, but this has been a fun 45 minutes.
It's been a riot here, and we've had obviously the Crashers and everybody, but you hear about, guys getting beers afterwards, right after they scrap. Was there ever a guy who was so friendly, Losey, that you didn't want to fight him just because he was such a nice guy?
No, not really. When we put hockey skates on, there's like, I have an alter ego. Like there's like a different person that goes out on the ice than the guy that I am off the ice. And so I was not a very nice guy on the ice. I chirped. I was doing everything I could to keep my job alive, which means I got to be getting into fights. So, but again, there was guys that I didn't want to piss off either. But maybe if I could skate around and not get caught up in it, that'd be better. But yeah, no one I really ever, was overly too nice to, except for Jimmy McKenzie.
I love you. You know that. Thanks for keeping me safe and alive all those years in St. Louis. It was an honor to play along beside you. You know that. I hope you're continuing to do well. I know life's going real well for you right now. I hope that continues. We love you. I love to bring PJ on. I know how tough you guys were. That was legendary, buddy. So thanks for coming on the show, my man.
My pleasure, guys. And Mike, it's nice to meet you. And when you guys get up here this year, I'll come down for pregame skate and shake your hand and give you a hug.
I'm the safest broadcaster in America right now. I got the two tough guys with me here. Nobody's going to touch me. Thanks, Lozy. Yep. Appreciate
that, guys.
Well, folks, there you have it. I apologize, buddy. I apologize because I know you didn't get enough time to chime in there and ask more questions. The boys, the fellas, they just took over, right? But didn't you feel like you were in a locker room? I mean, Reed Lowe was so surprised. First of all, the fights that he had, right? The shot I took from Bob Probert. I mean, I was literally like a dog. I was like humping Probert's leg in that one video. I forgot how embarrassing that was. And Reed Lowe steps in and beats the wheels off of Aaron Downey. And then PJ Stock, the fight they had, and then to crash him with PJ Stock. And again, Kelly Chase, just Chaser. I love that man to death. But the stories that PJ Stock was telling were just unbelievable. I felt like I was in the locker room.
I would be terrified in that locker room with 4 killers all around me. Like, I'm just a media guy, right? Like I didn't grow up fighting or playing or anything like that. But it reminded me of, I went to a cousin's wedding one time, and it was a Navy SEAL who was marrying my cousin. He had all these Navy SEAL buddies at this wedding, and it was like the safest place in America for a couple hours because there were like 10 SEALs here. I was the safest podcast in America for those 40 minutes where I had these 4 bruisers all around me. But awesome stuff. And like we mentioned earlier, we have Mammoth Week continuing this week. So with this dropping on Wednesday, we've got Thursday coming up in Ogden at Weber County Ice Sheet. And Friday will be in Enoch at KJ's Ice Barn from 4 to 8. And then we wrap things up Saturday in St. George, 5 to 9 at Red Rock Hockey. Clayton Keller, the captain, will be there on August 2nd. So if you're down south in Utah, make it out to St. George. That'll be really special. But great episode, Nasher. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, remember to follow us on Instagram at Nashcast Official, on Twitter and X at NashCastX. And Tyson, we're also on Spotify and Apple. Finally,
yeah.
We got
spread the love. Everyone listening, spread the love. We need your support. Some of the best stories in the planet. Really, I mean, I love it. The guys are bringing the thunder. That's one of our catchphrases, catch lines. But spread the love. Tell your friends. Give us a listen, and then you can do whatever you want from there. But it can be nails on a chalkboard at sometimes. But there's a lot of laughs, folks.
Oh, and we had a lot of laughs this episode. We've got a bunch more great interviews coming up. So excited to do some more damage in the weeks to come. But thanks for everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here on Nashcast.